face. Oh, there we are. Hi. It is so good to be with you again. Welcome in to Monday's verse video. And I am so happy to be here because I wasn't sure if I was going to be here today. On Saturday night, my mom was in the ICU battling COVID, fighting for her life. My dad told my sister and I that it was time to prepare for the worst. It was unimaginable what we went through. I have never really truly experienced a broken heart until Saturday night. It was like a wall of fiery pain around my heart, but God was present. And I am so happy to tell you that we are smack dab, our family is, in the middle of a miracle today because mom is still in the ICU, still fighting for her life. But I'll quote my dad, it's as if all of the prayers that you've been lifting up, that our family and friends have been lifting up, are breathing life back into my mom. And she has turned a huge corner. To God be the glory. And so that's why I wanted to do this week's series on great is his faithfulness, all of the times that God came through in the Bible. And you know it's going to be more than 5, but we're going to start with 5. We're going to start with the book of Ruth today. Ruth is a wonderful character in the Bible. I forgot my Bible. I'm a little out of practice. I have been at home and not here at the radio station, just taking care of my family and trying to figure out my poor mom. So I forgot my Bible. So I've got my phone. So I'm going to read to you from Ruth from the Message version on my iPhone. Here we go. Once upon a time, it was back in the days when judges led Israel, there was a famine in the land. A man from Bethlehem in Judah left home to live in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. The man's name was Elimelech. His wife's name was Naomi. His sons were Mahlon and Chilion, all Ephrathites. Not sure if I'm saying that right. From Bethlehem in Judah. They all went to the country of Moab and settled there. Elimelech, the father, died, and Naomi was left, she and her 2 sons. The sons took Moabite wives. The name of the first one was Orpah, the second Ruth. They lived there in Moab for the next 10 years. But then the 2 brothers died. Now the woman was left without either her young men or her husband. One day she got herself together, she and her 2 daughters-in-law, to leave the country of Moab and set out for home. She had heard that God had been pleased to visit his people and give them food. And so she started out from the place she had been living, she and her 2 daughters-in-law, with her on the road back to the land of Judah, back home. After a short while on the road, Naomi told her 2 daughters-in-law, go back, go home and live with your mothers, and may God treat you as graciously as you have treated me and your husbands. May God give each of you a new home and a new husband. She kissed them and they cried openly. They said, no, we're going on with you to your people. But Naomi was firm. Go back, my dear daughters. Why would you come with me? Do you suppose I still have sons in my womb who can become your future husbands? I'm sorry, I'm trying to remain eye contact with you and look at this too. Go back, dear daughters, on your way. Please, I'm too old to get a husband. Why, even if I said there's still hope and this very night got a man and had sons, do you think, can you imagine being satisfied to wait until they were grown? Would you wait that long to get married again? No, dear daughters, this is a bitter pill for me to swallow, more bitter for me than for you. God has dealt me a hard blow. Naomi was absolutely hopeless at this point, but let's read on. Again, they cried openly. Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth embraced her and held on. Hold on today. Hold on today. Naomi said, look, your sister-in-law is going back home to live with her own people and God's. Go with her. But Ruth said, don't force me to leave you. Don't make me go home. Where you go, I go. And where you live, I'll live. Your people are my people. Your God is my God. Where you die, I'll die. And that is where I will be buried. So help me God, not even death itself is going to come between us. You may have heard those words read at a wedding before, but they were first spoken from a daughter-in-law to her mother-in-law. It's the purest kind of love, isn't it? It's beautiful. When Naomi saw that Ruth had her heart set on going with her, she gave in. And so the 2 of them traveled on together to Bethlehem. When they arrived in Bethlehem, the whole town was soon buzzing. Is this really our Naomi? And after all this time? But she said, don't call me Naomi. Call me bitter. The strong one has dealt me a bitter blow. I left here full of life, and God has brought me back with nothing but the clothes on my back. Why would you call me Naomi? God certainly doesn't. The strong one ruined me. And so Naomi was back, and Ruth, the foreigner, with her back from the country of Moab. They arrived in Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. Here's where hope comes into the picture. It so happened that Naomi had a relative by marriage, a man prominent and rich, connected with Elimelech's family. His name was Boaz. One day, Ruth, the Moabite foreigner, said to Naomi, I'm going to work. She's taken charge. I'm going out to glean among the sheaves, following after some harvester who will treat me kindly. Naomi said, go ahead, dear daughter. And so she set out. She took the initiative. She went and started gleaning in a field, following in the wake of the harvesters. Eventually, she ended up in the part of the field owned by Boaz, her father-in-law, Elimelech's relative. A little later, Boaz came out from Bethlehem, greeting his harvesters, saying, God be with you. They replied, and God bless you. Boaz asked his young servant, who was foreman over the farmhands, who is this young woman? Where did she come from? The foreman said, why, that's the Moabite girl, the one who came with Naomi from the country of Moab. She asked permission. Let me glean, she said, and gather among the sheaves, following after your harvesters. She's been at it steady ever since, from early morning until now, without so much as a break. Then Boaz spoke to Ruth. Listen, my daughter, from now on, don't go to any other field to glean. Stay right here in this one and stay close to my young women. Watch where they are harvesting and follow them, and don't worry about a thing. I've given orders to my servants not to harass you. When you get thirsty, feel free to go and drink from the water buckets that the servants have filled. She dropped to her knees, then bowed her face to the ground. How does this happen that you should pick me out and treat me so kindly, me a foreigner? Boaz answered her, I've heard all about you. Heard about the way you treated your mother-in-law after the death of her husband, and how you left your father and mother and the land of your birth and have come to live among a bunch of total strangers. God reward you well for what you've done, and with a generous bonus besides from God, to whom you've come seeking protection under his wings. What I want you to notice here, what I'm noticing right now, is that God sees the good things that you do, even when other people don't, when they don't notice. God put it on Boaz's heart to notice and to reward Ruth for her faithfulness and her hope. And you're going to watch and see how hope is contagious here. She said, oh, sir, such grace, such kindness. I don't deserve it. You've touched my heart, treated me like one of your own, and I don't even belong here. At the lunch break, Boaz said to Ruth, come over here, eat some bread, dip it in the wine. She joined the harvesters. Boaz passed the roasted grain to her. She ate her fill and even had some left over. When she got back to work, Boaz ordered his servants, let her glean where there's still plenty of grain on the ground. Make it easy for her. Better yet, pull some of the good stuff out and leave it for her to glean. Give her special treatment. I believe Boaz is in love. Ruth gleaned in the fields until evening. When she threshed out what she had gathered, she ended up with nearly a full sack of barley. She gathered up her gleanings, went back to town, and showed her mother-in-law the results of her day's work. She also gave her the leftovers from her lunch. Ruth is a gem. She even saved some of her lunch for her mother-in-law. Naomi asked, where did you glean today? Whose field? God bless whoever it was who took such good care of you. Ruth told her mother-in-law, the man with whom I work today, his name is Boaz. Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, why, God bless that man. God hasn't quite walked out on us after all. He still loves us in bad times as well as good. Will you take Naomi's words for your own today? We're living through some bad times, but you know what? I love her words. He still loves us in bad times as well as good. Naomi went on, that man, Ruth, is one of our circle of covenant redeemers, a close relative of ours. Ruth the Moabitess said, well, listen to this. He also told me, stick with my workers until my harvesting is finished. Naomi said to Ruth, that's wonderful, dear daughter. Do that. Not daughter-in-law anymore. Daughter, you'll be safe in the company of his young women. No danger now of being raped in some stranger's field. So Ruth did it. She stuck close to Boaz's young women, gleaning in the fields daily until both the barley and wheat harvesting were finished, and she continued living with her mother-in-law. One day, her mother-in-law, Naomi, said to Ruth, my dear daughter, isn't it about time I arranged a good home for you so you can have a happy life? And isn't Boaz, our close relative, the one with whose young women you've been working? Maybe it's time to make our move. Tonight is the night of Boaz's barley harvest at the threshing floor. Naomi's hoping again. Naomi's planning again because hope is contagious. Take a bath. Put on some perfume, get all dressed up, and go to the threshing floor. But don't let him know you're there until the party is well underway and he's had plenty of food and drink. When you see him slipping off to sleep, watch where he lies down and then go there. Lie at his feet to let him know that you are available to him for marriage. Then wait and see what he says. He'll tell you what to do. Ruth said, if you say so, I'll do it as you've told me. She went down to the threshing floor and put her mother-in-law's plan into action. In the middle of the night, I'm skipping down a little bit here for the sake of time, the man was suddenly startled and sat up. Surprise, this woman asleep at his feet. He said, and who are you? She said, I am Ruth, your maiden. Take me under your protecting wing. You're my close relative. You know, in the circle of covenant redeemers, you do have the right to marry me. He said, God bless you, my dear daughter. What a splendid expression of love. And when you could have had your pick of any of the young men around. And now, my dear daughter, don't you worry about a thing. I'll do all you could want or ask. Everybody in town knows what a courageous woman you are, a real prize. You're right. I am a close relative to you, but there is one even closer than I am. So stay the rest of the night. In the morning, if he wants to exercise his customary rights and responsibilities as the closest covenant redeemer, he'll have his chance. But if he isn't interested, as God lives, I'll do it. Now go back to sleep until morning. Ruth slept at his feet until dawn, but she got up while it was still dark and wouldn't be recognized. Then Boaz said to himself, no one must know that Ruth came to the threshing floor. So Boaz said, bring the shawl you're wearing and spread it out. She spread it out and he poured it full of barley, 6 measures, and put it on her shoulders. Then she went back to town. When she came to her mother-in-law, Naomi asked, and how did things go, my dear daughter? Ruth told her everything that the man had done for her, adding, and he gave me all this barley besides, 6 quarts. He told me you can't go back empty-handed to your mother-in-law. Naomi said, sit back and relax, my dear daughter, until we find out how things turn out. That man isn't going to fool around. Mark my words, he's going to get everything wrapped up today. And he did. I'm going to sum this up a little bit here because the other man did not want to marry Ruth. He just didn't want all of the responsibilities that came with that. So Boaz said, I'll buy the land and I will take Ruth for my wife. So I'm going to just skip down a little bit here. You are my witnesses. Boaz married Ruth. She became his wife. Boaz slept with her. By God's gracious gift, she conceived and had a son. The town women said to Naomi, blessed be God. He didn't leave you without a family to carry on your life. May this baby grow up to be famous in Israel. May he'll make you young again. He'll take care of you in old age. And this daughter-in-law who has brought him into the world and loves you so much, why, she's worth more to you than 7 sons. Naomi took the baby and held him in her arms, cuddling him, cooing over him, waiting on him hand and foot. The neighborhood women started calling him Naomi's baby boy, but his real name was Obed. Obed was the father of Jesse, and Jesse, the father of David, King David in the Bible. And so Obed, Ruth's son, was in the line of David. And from that line came our Savior, Jesus. And I'm sorry I'm a little emotional today because I really thought that I was going to lose my mom on Saturday. But God gave me hope, and he will give you hope. He gave Ruth and Naomi hope. It's contagious. Let's keep spreading it. Let's keep believing in the goodness of our God in good times and in bad times. He is with us and he loves us. Hey, you are loved. It's good to be back.